So, a few days ago, I saw the news that Singapore's Prime Minister, Lawrence Wong, was spotted on a commercial flight in economy class. Economy. As in, where the legroom is a cruel joke and your elbow fights for dominance over the shared armrest. Why was I shocked? Well, Singapore is tiny, but always manages to hog the spotlight on international news, especially in Chinese media. It's like that overachiever kid in school who gets straight A's, aces piano recitals, and somehow finds time to volunteer at the animal shelter. Annoying? Maybe. Impressive? Absolutely. But here's the kicker. People in China don't necessarily crave freedom or democracy the way Westerners might think. Nope. All they really want is a government that's clean, efficient, and doesn't mess around. Kind of like Singapore's. And honestly, who can blame them? One of my friends from India commented online saying, India should learn from China. Hold on there, buddy. Why not skip the middleman and go straight for the gold standard? Learn from Singapore. Heck, why not just rent Prime Minister Lawrence Wong or his predecessor Lee Hsien Loong? Imagine Lee Hsien Loong walking into India with a clipboard, a laser pointer, and a no nonsense attitude. Alright, step 1, clean up. Step 2, build stuff. Step 3, no corruption. Let's go. The man's now a senior minister, so he's got time on his hands. India, call him up. Speaking of Lee Hsien Loong, he recently visited China for the 30th anniversary of the Suzhou Industrial Park, a joint venture between China and Singapore. The park's transformation from rice paddies to an economic powerhouse is legendary. It's like a Cinderella story, but with less magic and more spreadsheets. China welcomed Lee with the kind of pomp reserved for rock stars or, let's be honest, Taylor Swift. There were meetings with President Xi Jinping, tours of electric car factories, and probably a banquet with food so good it's borderline illegal. Now, this industrial park wasn't just a win for Suzhou. It's a win for Jiangsu province, which now boasts a per capita GDP that's racing past South Korea. Modernization? Check. Economic powerhouse? Double check. Meanwhile, Shenzhen down south is giving Hong Kong a run for its money, quite literally, using, you guessed it, the Singapore playbook. Shenzhen didn't even bother copying Hong Kong, its neighbor. Oh no, it skipped over and took notes from Singapore instead. And look at it now. It's China's innovation hub and the third largest city economically. Hong Kong, probably sulking across the river. Even smaller Chinese cities are getting in on the Singapore action. Picture fifth tier cities. Yes, that's a thing. With tree-lined streets, spotless parks, and urban designs that scream, we're trying to impress Singapore. China and Singapore's collaboration is like a buddy cop movie. Singapore brings the innovation and finesse. China scales it up to blockbuster proportions. Together, they're a dynamic duo of economic success. But here's the wild part. While managing all this economic wizardry, Singapore has mastered the art of diplomacy. It's like watching someone juggle flaming swords while riding a unicycle on a tightrope. Singapore stays friendly with both China and the US, doesn't take sides, and somehow avoids the drama. Meanwhile, other nations are like, how do you do that? And then there's Taiwan, desperately trying to keep up, but stuck buying second-hand weapons from the US at premium prices. The contrast is, let's just say, not flattering. Now, some might say Lee Hsien Loong lives in the shadow of his father, Lee Kuan Yew. But that's like saying Michael Jordan's kids can't play basketball. Sure, the legacy is massive, but Lee Hsien Loong has proven he's got his own game. Balancing international relations while driving economic growth, that's MVP material. So, to my Indian friends, forget learning from China. It's big, messy, and a tad too mysterious. Instead, pool your resources, send Singapore a deposit, and get Lee Hsien Loong on a consultancy basis. 20 years later, collect your results and pay the balance. It's a win-win. And that, my friends, is why Singapore, tiny but mighty, is the ultimate overachiever. If you're not taking notes, you're missing out. Until next time, keep dreaming big and thinking smart.